Hi everyone, thank you for joining me. I'm going for another walk. My name's Frida and I'm in Scotland. It's freezing and it's raining. So I've got my umbrella, which I'm going to actually open very soon. Um, and yes, thank you. So now I'm going to go for this walk and I hope you're going to join me on it. It's another cold, crispy morning in Scotland. It's always cold and crispy in Scotland. It rains a lot. A lot. I mean, you seriously cannot leave the house without a jacket. An umbrella, not so much because most of the time it's really windy, so the umbrella becomes redundant most of the time. But it's beautiful. It is so beautiful. Um, so yes, so the whole thing about walking is quite interesting. I never took it as a thing, and for a very long time I couldn't understand how people go for walks. The first time somebody suggested to go for a walk, I was like, wait, where are we walking to? Why are we walking? Um, look how pretty the pond is. I know. I really like this pond. So the reason why I got this woods so much is because they're very near where I live. And I feel very lucky that they're just, well, essentially at my doorstep. So yes, the idea of going for a walk, first person who suggested it, suggestion. So they said, we're going for a walk. And I said, where to? And they took out a map and showed me where we were going to walk. To be fair, it was early days of dating someone, so, you know, try these things. And yeah, we essentially went to some woods. All I can tell you is it was somewhere in south of England. I have no recollection where exactly that was. It's over 10 years ago now, good lord. And yeah, we walked around. Then we actually drove to the woods, walked around, and then got back in the car. And that was it. And I thought, oh my god. Okay. And now, more than 10 years later, I take myself for a walk in the cold. Yeah, I really like it now. So the woods I'm walking in, what are called ancient woodland. That means they've been around, or they have persisted since 1600 in England and Wales, and 1750 in Scotland. This is from the Woodland Trust. That's the description. Yeah. I saw someone had asked a question. Do plants die of old age? Yeah, look how old that tree is. Yes, so do plants die of old age? And the answer I found was theoretically plants can live forever, except for annual plants, which have a predetermined lifespan. So if you've got a house plant and you're looking after it, it would theoretically live for as long as you're looking after it. This got me thinking, is my need to get rich by 40 a sign of midlife crisis? And do women actually get midlife crisis, you know. I asked somebody whether they thought women got midlife crisis, and she said, no, we don't call it midlife crisis, we call it old and bitter. Yeah, you know, that, yeah. So do women get midlife crisis, and if so, do I actually have it? And what does it look like? Yeah. All the signs say that women become depressed, obviously. Oh yes, we don't go and buy sports cars and stuff. So you see the I digress a little, but you see the lichen in the fungi and moss. I think it is moss. But yeah, I like. So if you ever get lost in the woods, I'm going to show how little knowledge I have. But they used to use things like the lichen and fungi to tell the direction because they only grow facing one side. I think it's north, please, somebody told me. So basically facing away from the sun. Is that right? I don't think so. I'll stop there because I'm not sure. But anyway, it was something along the lines of which side it grew. Yes. And actually, the largest living thing in the world is supposed to be a fungi or fungi. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, depends on where you are in the world. Yes, interesting. So, look how old that tree is. My goodness. Yeah, beautiful. So, do women get midlife crisis? How does it present? Yeah, here I am walking and wondering. Yeah. It's really cathartic walking actually. It's one of those things where you you kind of get into it and keep doing just because I suppose it's easy, to be fair. It's very easy to do. It's a very new concept for some of us. I had no need to walk as a child or even as a teenager. Why would I? I walked to somewhere. I had to walk to school. I had to walk to get to the bus stop. Sometimes the reason why I say I had to walk to school is because sometimes, so I lived, I had to take a bus to go to school, primary school, and yeah, my goodness. So we had those days of Nyayo bus, hello, and Kenya bus, but they only came like you'd get an hour or something like that. And then you had matatus, which sometimes would refuse to get school children on the buses, and they'd limit the number of kids that they'd allow, and so sometimes we'd just walk. So to walk for leisure, my goodness, why? Why would I do that? Oh, I heard Trevor Noah talking about sitting on tattoos essentially, and saying that you sat on the engine. Yes. Hello. Yes, kids was to sit on the engine. It was hot. Yes. Yeah, stealing other people's material. Hello. Look how beautiful this place is. Yes. Yeah. Uh, Again, it's very muddy. And you can see, so things they were saying is you can tell how ancient a woodland is by looking at the fungi, the lichen. I think that's how you pronounce it. Lichen, Lichen. Anybody who knows how to pronounce it correctly, please tell me. The only trouble is I can look. If I don't know, how will I know? You don't know what you don't know. Hey, anywho, let's keep walking. So the only problem is there's usually a lot of rubbish, and if you start looking closely, you will see the rubbish. Trouble is, once you start saying it, you can't stop saying it. It's very frustrating. The essayist David Sedaris bought a Fitbit, so he was telling the story where he bought a Fitbit. He'd just moved to rural Sussex, West Sussex, I think, in a village, and he had a target of 10,000 miles, and he liked it because he'd get like a message to say, congratulations, you've done 10,000 miles. And so he'd try and beat the Fitbit by walking. And so over time, he started taking rubbish bags with him and collecting rubbish on his way. And he kept on trying to beat the Fitbit, which meant he was increasing his steps, hence spending a lot more time outside, and he became known as the guy who collects rubbish. And he would apparently sometimes go for like a whole afternoon and end up with all these plastic bags. And the West Sussex Council eventually recognized his efforts and bought him, or rather named a truck after him. Yeah, that's quite an honor. He had interesting stories about stuff that he collected on his walks. So here I am, just rambling. Is it rambling? Oh, they call people who walk about ramblers. And I think in Scotland there's something called, oh, look how beautiful that view is. I like that. In Scotland they have a thing called right of way, where you can cut across somebody's I think there are defined paths, but you have right to roam, which means you can walk almost anywhere. If I'm not mistaken, I will Google this and find out if that's true, but I think it is. You can walk as close to somebody's houses, as long as you're not in their property, they can actually stop you. And yes, this has been in place for many, many years, and it started out because all these lords or gentry, I think, would take, they would close off the paths that were already there for people to walk on, and people had to go around a very long way just to get to their homes because somebody has closed off the paths that had been used for generations. And yes, interesting. Yay. Anyway, right. So, my question for today was, do women get midlife crisis? I'm still yet to solve it, so anybody who's got an answer to it, I would gladly hear it. On my last walk, actually, up ahead there was a lost backpack. Let me see if it's still there. If it is, I would be asking. Oh, there it is. Yes. So, how do you lose a backpack? Like, really, how do you lose a backpack? What would be in it? I've not actually wanted to check. I'm not going to either. But yeah, unless you're cycling, I can see how you drop it, but can't be picnic surely. It's really cold, wet, and muddy. So how do you lose a backpack? In the woods. Yeah, mystery. Anyway, thank you so much for having come for this walk with me, virtually, and I really appreciate it. My name's Frida, and have yourself a fantastic time. Thank you.